Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Product Perspective Talks. And this series, we are speaking with many leading product managers across many leading companies in the globe. And continuing with this, I'm happy to introduce our today's guest, Mr. Saurabh Pandey. He's a lead product manager at BMC Software and has got extensive experience in the world of product management. He has also worked with many other leading companies like HSBC, TCS in the past. So, hi Saurabh, welcome to the session and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Sujeet. Thanks for inviting me here.
All right. So before we dive into the actual topic of the discussion, like product management, I'm going to start with asking you. Like, I can see you started as a system engineer in the initial stage of your career, and then you transition into product management. So how did this transition happen? And just tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. So when I started as a system engineer, as you mentioned, I didn't think I'll be a PM after 17, 18 years. So you cannot plan that long, right? So you plan max, you can plan for a couple of years or 3 years. So definitely when I started, I didn't have that in my mind. So I started as on embedded systems. I worked in DRDO initially. Then I worked in TCS, where I worked on mainframes, system side, distributor side, application development, then database administration. Then I slowly moved to people management. So I have done people management many years. I also did quality assurance as well for software development. I joined BMC. BMC is one of my dream companies that time, and luckily I got a chance to join BMC. I joined here as in quality assurance, as well as later I became the development manager over here. Then I transitioned. Then I got this opportunity to work as a product manager. So so product management as such is not something which is very different. The only thing which I would say is the key aspect is like, and how you grow in your career as a PM is like how tactical you are and how strategic you are. So that's the combination. And if you are in initial days of your career, you'll be 90% tactical and 10% strategy. And as you grow in your career, the strategic quotient becomes larger and you become less tactical. So I think that's how the phase is, your PM career. I think right now I'm in the phase where I have half tactical and half strategic roles. So that's how I started. It's been a few years in this role here in BMC.
Great. So, you mentioned about this tactical and strategic product management. So
Right.
now as I can see, you have seen many other aspects. You have seen the product development process in general from
Yes.
different perspectives, like as a system engineer, someone who has worked with IT infrastructure, or as a people manager, and now as a product manager. So what is that one biggest change that you see in yourself when you started with product management, that or in your thought process looking into the product management or product development in general?
Okay, so see, it could be different for everybody. So for me, I think the biggest thing which I learned in last 3-4 years is how you communicate. So you have to communicate the same stuff to different stakeholders.
Right.
So if you're talking to an engineering team, so the language which you use to communicate the same thing will not be same as when you talk to a marketing person, or when you talk to your leaders, your sponsors. Then you have salespeople, then you have legal, then you have all other stakeholders. Like you are in the middle and you have to talk. and you have to communicate the same thing, right?
Right.
So I think that's one of the things which being a PM one should learn, how you properly communicate to the right audience and in your right language. So I think that is one of the things which I'm still learning and I'm growing. So but that's one of the interesting parts of being in this role.
Yeah, that's very crucial. I mean, even from my own
Right.
experience, I am now working as a senior product manager at Amoeboids. But when I started initially, I haven't transitioned from a technical background to the product
Right.
management like you. So it was always a a
Being a
challenge
product
for me
manager.
to when I discuss things with engineering team, because you have to talk to them in their language. Otherwise, you
Exactly.
cannot be effectively pass on your message, what you are trying to tell them. So definitely, you don't have to be an expert technically, but you have to
Yes.
learn the tricks to communicate with each stakeholder in their own language to get best out of them as far as your
Exactly. Exactly.
day-to-day product management or product development process is concerned. So you talked about communication. That's one skill that very crucial for a product manager.
Indeed. Yeah.
Any other particular skill that according to you is very crucial for a person entering into product management?
S- So if you're, yeah, definitely there are many skills, and I really don't know if I can touch on everything, but whatever is coming to my mind right now. So when you're early in your career as a PM, right? So you're more tactical. You deal day-to-day stuff a lot with the engineering teams. So when you're more tactical, uh, you need to be, coordinating with a lot of people, and so that coordination skill, I mean, how you coordinate with different technical leaders, development managers, and the engineering team. So you should know that coordination skill, and that's a people skill. And on top of that, you do not have any kind of authority, right? So it's like influencing and without having any authority on the team. So that's something you should develop as a PM. So when you are saying this that to the team that this feature is going to be the next in the upcoming release, then you should have that conviction, and you should be inspiring the team, and uh, getting that nod from the team. But on the same side, you should never impose your thoughts, and you should never try to uh, you know pose it as like, okay, if you're saying it, that's the right thing to do. You
Mm.
should always discuss about it, but put your points, how with the teams, uh, with emotional intelligence. That's one of the key skills, I'd say, when you are very technical with the teams, because you do not have authority, always remember.
Right.
But so that's what you should be when you are more tactical with the team. On the other side, on the other extreme, when you're more strategic, I think you should be understanding the financials a lot,
Right.
and you should know how the revenues are happening, how the EYR is going on for the company, how your competitors are doing. So all of that. So that kind of skill set you should have when you become more strategic. There are many more. I just gave you a couple of examples.
So sort of you mentioned about strategic part of product management and tactical part of product management. I think one
Yes.
thing that converges both these worlds is something like product roadmap, right?
Oh yes,
You have
yes,
to maintain a product roadmap which basically showcases the way you are going to ahead with your product development in the near future. So
yes.
what's your thoughts on product roadmap? Like what's important things that one should always remember while maintaining a healthy product roadmap?
Yes, definitely. I think that's the backbone, right?
Right.
I mean, on what your product development stands, and without a product roadmap and without a feature roadmap, I mean, how will you develop? What will you develop? So basically, one of the things which is very important to understand being a PM is, you are the person, or you're from the team who thinks primarily on why you want this feature to
Mm.
be added. So you should be working on the why part. You should know why you want to add this feature, and you should have that reasoning behind it, the business value which is it is going to create. So, but you should never tell the team how to do that. That's the team's responsibility. That's the engineering team's forte, and you should never intervene that. But definitely the part of why, and that's from this why your roadmap develops. So I think the roadmap starts from a very at a very high level, at a very strategic level, where you have certain themes which you finalize for your product in upcoming 2 3 years, and you set up a larger goals for your products. Like suppose the goal could be we'll move our products from on-prem to SaaS based, right? So that could be a larger goal. But to achieve that goal, you again bifurcate that in different themes. It could be many themes. Each product, how you will change it to SaaS based revenue structure. So and then further it goes down. So the product roadmap definitely comes from that strategic roadmap, which you can say, which comes definitely from our leaders and different other strategic lead stakeholders. And then being a PM, you kind of plan that in next 1 year, and suppose what is the cadence of your releases? It will depend on that. Like suppose if you do a monthly release, this is too frequent in I believe, but let's say it's monthly release. So you should have an idea and roadmap of next 12 releases at least, right? And the 12th release will be very strategic and very volatile. It might change, but the one which is coming next, right? You should be very much clear what you are going to release, and you should plan it in advance. So the roadmap is like that, based on your strategic roadmap, based on the themes given to you. You set up uh, different features which you will be releasing in the product in next 12 months or next 2 years, 24 months. You put it on a board, keep it there, you prioritize that, and you can use many tools for that. If you don't have any tool, you can do on paper and with paper and pen as well. That's all right. But it's all about how you prioritize that. So road mapping basically goes side by side with the prioritization. I don't know if I answered the question, but this is what I feel at a high level.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned rightfully that road mapping is basically the next phase of prioritization. So my next question was actually on the prioritization side only. So you have
Yeah,
bunch of features in front of you which could be developed within your product. There are a bunch
right,
of requests that are coming in from your customers, your users on constant basis.
right,
So how one should approach this scenario? Because not everyone you can cannot satisfy everyone, and you cannot incorporate all the features. Sometimes they are too, your product is too into an essence stage to include a high level feature, or sometimes there are some other constraints like you have resources or you're
right.
deployed on some other features. So how do you approach all this scenario?
Yes, I think that's that's. I mean, this all goes side by side, and this all gets along with each other. So prioritization is definitely something one should be paying attention to. So as you said, right, you cannot add everything in the
Right.
product, and you should not be adding. I mean, if you're adding everything, you are going wrong.
Right.
That's that's not the way. Um, See, I mean, there are many frameworks which you can use for prioritization. There is this Kano model and many other models. But I'd say, the prioritization technique and how you prioritize, it depends on your organization,
Right.
right? So never try to do the overfitting with the frameworks.
Mm.
Put your own mind and be pragmatic when you prioritize that. But I'll give you some examples like how can you prioritize and how can you think on the features. Definitely you should be looking with the competitors,
Okay.
but do you think what you're so when you say when you're looking to the competitors, should you have everything what they have? I mean, is that the right strategy? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You could be There could be some features in which you are the best, and there could be some features you're not the best, and you should accept that.
Mm.
Do you want to play and compete in all the areas? I don't know. I mean, it depends.
Right.
So you should be making your forte. I mean, what's your repo in the market? and what you have been remembered for, or what you people recall you for. You should be making that feel stronger and stronger. I mean, nobody should be competing in that field. You should make sure that. But can you be stronger in every aspect? I doubt it. Your right hand is stronger than left. Your somebody's left hand is stronger than right. But should you? There was a story. Roger Federer, who is a tennis player, right? He said if you're right handy, and if your front stroke is stronger, you are stronger. Then work on that. Don't be bothered about that your back strokes are not going well. I mean, you should definitely be making it at the at the level where you don't fail because of that. But don't worry about that. You should be focusing more on your strength and definitely improve the areas where you can improve. But you cannot make everything 100%. You are stronger in all the aspects, and that's all right. And slowly you move ahead. That's how you can prioritize. Also, you should think on the second point I wanted to make is look on the features, and this is coming from a model. So look on the features, how their value is getting changed in the course of time. Like for example, there are certain, you have a product, I'm talking very generalized way. You have a product, and there are certain features which used to be the USP 10 years back, but now they are basic needs in your product. For example, if you go to a hotel 10 years back, they used to highlight that we have Wi-Fi here, right? There were few hotels which will say we have Wi-Fi over here, and you used to get amused and felt like I'm in a great hotel, and you will log into the Wi-Fi and you'll talk about that. Oh, that hotel has Wi-Fi. I'm talking about 10 years back. But today, if you go to a hotel and if you don't find a Wi-Fi, if you find a Wi-Fi, you'll not be amused because that's basic. I mean, it has to be there, right?
Right.
So make sure that, so this is a basic need now. Wi-Fi is a basic need of the product. Make sure you are meeting all the basic needs, because if you fail on the basic needs, right, you will fail drastically. So that should be your first priority. Make sure you're not skipping anything which is a basic need, right? So, and then you should be definitely having certain things which amuses people, which is a differentiator from the market. You should work on those areas as well, right? And there are certain features where you can scale up. It's like linear. You keep on scaling up on those, it will give you revenue, and people will be happy. So those are linear. You don't have much scope over there to innovate or do anything like that. For example, like your pen drive, let's say pen drive as an example, how much memory can you fit in, right? So you just keep on scaling up, 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB. People are happy, 32 GB, okay, very nice. So I mean, these are the few things I told you about, very generalized way, but think on your product's perspective, think in these lines. Always make sure the basic needs are met, and wherever you can scale up, keep on scaling up. That will generate revenue, and you should have a differentiator which amuses the customer. You should have those as well. So I think these three you can work to prioritize.
Oh, that's quite an amazing answer. I think
Okay.
even the one thing that you mentioned, like of course the thing that you mentioned at the end of the answer, like you should be knowing the market. What are the basic things that your product
Exactly.
should always satisfy. At the same time, you should be knowing where you are going to place your product in the market. So you should know your niche so that you can have a differentiator in that niche. But
Absolutely.
having said that,
Agreed.
one point that you mentioned earlier is really important, that there is no one fit formula for all as far as
No, you
prioritization is
cannot.
concerned, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
one mistake that even I have done in my initial years is that you try to apply all those prioritization models out of the theory directly into
Yeah.
your practical world, but that doesn't work like that.
No, they can help. They can definitely help you, but don't try to overfit with
Right.
any framework. Right.
All right. So these days we are being bombarded with so many different tools, whether it is related to product management. Even if you go into Google and search for product roadmap as a keyword, you will get tens and 20 thousands of tools only for product roadmap. And there are some
Right.
other aspects of product management. And then there are some tools these days are very popular, like ChatGPT, which are being touted as threatening the whole existence
Whole
of many yes,
right.
roles in the software industry, including the product management. So,
Yes.
what's your take on this? And second thing, like any particular tool that you always carry in your toolbox, whether it's related to product management or even for your personal productivity management.
Yes. So tool is definitely helpful. Tools are helpful, and but I suggest don't be too much dependent on the tools. And definitely they are there to help. I mean, if you are happy to work on a paper and a pen, you can always work with that. But because now your digital everything is online, so you can definitely use tools. I particularly use AHA,
Okay.
right? So we use it a lot, and but then I think there are many other tools. I don't remember the names right now. So you can use those, and those are very good tools. You can prioritize. You can have the board. You can move your features from here to there. You can set the cadence. You can set the release. You can do the prioritization. You can do the weightage allocation to different features, and uh, you can connect with. So I think Jira is something which is used a lot. I mean, it's not a product management tool basically, but the engineering teams use it a lot, and I think we have to also get involved into them while creating stories and all. And there is a good connectivity between AHA and Jira. So and there are many other tools, I mean, which you can use. But as I said, tools are tools until unless you are clear with your tactics and you're clear with the strategy and you're clear with the market and your prioritization, any tool will work.
And your take on AI taking over product
Okay,
management
AI,
role?
I mean, see, yes, I really don't think so. It's going to take over everything, but yes, it has definitely created a buzz.
Right.
Especially students are leveraging ChatGPT a lot. So I don't know. We need everybody. Every technology should be ethical and should be used ethically. That's one of the things which I feel. Even when AI was introduced, and so there was this trend like where you can tweak the data, right? I mean, you can model, you can train the models based on biased set of data, and you can create a model based on that. You should not be doing that. Similar is true for ChatGPT. So leveraging technology is going to be definitely there, and a lot of repetitive tasks, and and I think now ChatGPT is kind of breaking that thought process that it's not only repetitive task, it can do a lot
Right.
of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
But so people will have different things to do, I think so. I mean, there was a time when uh, when cars were created manually, then the factory was introduced, and this
Right.
belt was introduced where you put raw material at the one end and cars get generated at the other end. So industrialization happened a long time back, and everybody was scared what will happen to the manpower, and I think everything got adjusted. People had different things to do. So I'd not say it's a threat. I'd say I think we have to get along with that and
Right.
leverage that technology, use that ethically. First of all, I think that's very important, and make it useful for humankind, rather than threatening them and and being a threat to them. But everything is in the future, so we really don't know. But that's my take on that.
Yeah, pretty valid points. Even my take on this is like, like till then, like you mentioned about industrialization and all those industrial revolutions of the past, there was always a cry for automations taking over the job. But actually, what
Yes,
happened in the 20th and the early 20th first century was like every automation wave actually created a lot of jobs on its periphery in the service sector.
exactly.
And there was always an assumption like automation can take away the repetitive tasks, but the human creativity and those things will always remain with humans and will always survive in that. But I think this is the first time people are seeing that AI can actually do the creative work as well.
Yes,
And that's why I think the cry is more louder than the earlier. and also
I
the
know.
speed at which it is going on. Like
Right.
earlier revolutions were not at this breathtaking speed that the AI is going at, but definitely there would be uh, this whole thing is going to settle down a bit. And these are very early trend at the moment, so I think we should wait. We should be at the same time trying to cope with it and have to use it to our advantage rather than just
Exactly.
like this is going to take over. Rather than that, we can just use
Yeah.
it to our own advantage.
Yeah. I
So
mean, we can never predict the future, but definitely, as of now, I think that's the right statement. Leverage it for the advantage for every human being.
I think Saurabh, that's a really thoughtful discussion so far we had, and I don't want to stretch it long, but
Sure.
we are coming to the end of this session. And before I let you go, any key takeaways from your side or tips from your side for the budding, product managers who are just entering into this field or who are trying to switch to product management, like you switched back then?
Yeah, I think if you have a passion about it, if you really see product management per se is I mean, with the names and all that, right? This title, it's a new field.
Correct.
I mean, 10 years back, I didn't had any idea about it. Yeah,
Right.
it was there in the US and other countries, but in India, it's comparatively new field. And if you say that product management, if you want to fit it in a definition, that is also that will be limiting. But one of the things which I can definitely say, and if you really enjoy doing that, you should be in product management. If you really enjoy talking to different stakeholders, different people, and if you can, and if you like, being with people, coordinate with them uh, without authority, I think that is one of the fields where you should be. And the other feeling is some book refers to that. I really don't know. I mean, I don't agree 100% with that, but I think there are certain books which is being a product manager, you are the CEO of the product. That's not the right statement, but again, you have an perspective. You are at a vantage point where you can see all the aspects of the product development from being conceptualization till development to marketing to release to sales to legal. So you have that and high level view of this whole process, and that will give you a lot of uh, intelligence about how overall, I mean, it's like how overall company runs in one way. So if you have this entrepreneurship kind of mindset, and and might be if you want to go ahead as an entrepreneur later, might be, so this will definitely help you, being in Priyam. So I mean, personally, I like talking to people, a lot of people, different kind of people. So, and I love doing that. I like to interact. I love to see how the product gets conceptualized, how the ideas we get and how we prioritize, and then how we release to the customer and customers are happy. Talk to customers and feel their pain area. So I think these are the all interactions which I love, and that's why I'm in this field. So everybody will have their own passion and their own reasoning behind joining this field, right? So, and if you're very new, read some books. I think that will give you good perspective. There is a book named as Inspired. So
Okay.
that's a good one. I think Marty Kagan is the writer. Then there are a few more. I mean, if you want, anybody wants to connect with me, connect on LinkedIn. I can definitely help you personally over there as well.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for such a wonderful discussion and great insights. I'm sure the audience must have got a lot of valuable insights from this discussion. And thanks again for joining us today. To our audience, stay tuned for more such videos on our YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to Amoeboids YouTube channel, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn for more such updates. So with this, we are coming to the end of this episode. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, Sujit.
Thank you, sir.